Awesome. So we are live, and today I'm here with YGZ, Taiwan, and
Yeah, not Z.
Zed. I have to change my ways and be a little more like for these British people and South African people. I always have to call it Zed to try and be respectful. And so
Okay.
today, basically, kind of talking about why Chinese people shouldn't like shills either. I know it's a little funny because you always see, and this is at least my opinion here, that you always see Chinese people really supporting, and these are nationalist people. They're not all Chinese people, of course.
Yeah, we're not speaking about the typical Chinese person, right?
Right, and I hope that people understand also when we say Chinese people, it should be contextual. There are times that, of course, we're talking about government. There are times that we're talking about nationalists. We're usually not talking about the Ayi working down at the Baozi shop, right?
Yeah. These are not the typical like working class normal Chinese people. These are the nationalists who have got a bit of money, maybe even like studied abroad or something, right?
Exactly. So like I said, basically, we'll start talking a little bit more. Kind of wait for a little bit more viewers to get in here. Since we just started, and this is our first time kind of doing it on both of our channels together.
Yeah.
Even though it has the Prime in China logo and stuff on it, this is just what we're using for now. It's not a big deal.
That's fine. That's fine.
But yeah, so my first thing that I'm going to talk about for why I think, personally, in my opinion, that Chinese people should not be supporting these shills. And that's because the one thing that I've always noticed and I've always thought was really strange was that, I've always felt like the shills kind of put themselves above Chinese people. And I've always thought that was really, really strange. Because one thing I've noticed is that, like, whenever they were on that trip and they wanted to go up that mountain, they did this thing where they were like, well, we'll just talk to the police. We'll just tell the police, and it's like anyone that lives in China knows that, like, you don't go to another country and you don't make yourself a pest. You don't do that type of stuff. It's just not the right thing to do. So I've always felt like they always act like they deserve a special kind of treatment that that Chinese people don't get, and they always expect way more than Chinese people.
That's very typical of like some foreigners in China to behave like they're entitled, like they have this kind of like superiority complex because, like although these shills, they quite often preach that they love China and that they're in love with China and they love Chinese customs and culture and history and all of this stuff. But at the end of the day, they kind of have this superiority complex and they feel like they're entitled, and they actually, you wouldn't behave that way if you didn't think that you were better than somebody, right? So that's how they behave. They think that they have to get this special treatment. I mean, the simple fact is they don't go out of their way to learn anything about China or the culture. I mean, they haven't even learned the language, for God's sake. And that's a big part of being in China, is to like learn this amazing language, this alien language to us foreigners. If you take your time to do that, you truly care about being there, right? Yeah.
I agree. And one thing that I've always told people, like, you can't tell everyone that you love China, that you care for China, that you respect China, if you're unwilling to learn any of the language. And the reason for that is because China is so closely tied, and anyone that's lived in China knows this, is that China is so closely tied to its culture and its language. So it's like, if you don't understand any of the language, then you don't understand any of the culture. You just don't. It's just not possible.
Right.
They're so closely tied together in everyday life. Whereas if in America, it's kind of like, we sort of adopt from everywhere else, where China is still very much like its own thing, right? Like, you just have to learn the language. And it's a wonderful language, to be honest. And nobody will ever praise you more than Chinese people anyways. Like, you're like, oh,
Even
ni
if you
hao,
do
what's
say ni
out, you
hao.
know? Yeah, what's out? Prime in China, like, and it's like you feel
Yeah,
amazing, right?
yeah.
It's not like Spanish where you go speak Spanish and they're just like, yeah, you know.
It's just like, oh, whatever. He should be able to like speak Spanish because he studied Spanish in school for like 7 years or whatever, you know?
Right. They're like, dude, like you're like, especially for us Americans, like if you're an American and you go to like Mexico and you don't speak any Spanish, they're kind of just like,
Yeah.
you
Sorry
know?
to just cut in for a sec. You've got Exploration Taiwan in the messages saying he's in backstage or something like that.
Oh, he's backstage. Okay. Let me,
Yeah.
I'll
Sorry.
add him in.
Yeah.
And
Just thought I'd let you know.
there. So Exploration
Yeah,
Taiwan.
Hey, mate. How you doing?
just got out of the shower, so my hair is a little bit messy.
Awesome.
That's okay.
Awesome.
That's
No
okay.
kissing your
You guys
girlfriend
can
on
hear me
stream and no
okay?
drinking.
I can hear you fine, mate.
No drinking, no.
No, don't drink it, please.
Okay, good. I'm
I'm
you
just
guys
giving
are
you
a
a hard
little bit
time.
cutting in and out, but it's okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But you can hear us okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
maybe Mr. Exploration Taiwan. What would you think about like a person if they, let's say they moved to Taiwan and they lived there for say 5-10 years and didn't speak any of the language? What do you think Taiwanese people would think of that?
You know what? It's kind of sad. Taiwanese people, they don't really expect foreigners to want to learn Chinese. But it's not like us Americans, like when there's immigrants that we hope that they can at least learn English to a point where they can at least do everyday life things and do stuff in the workplace with other English speaking people. But here it's like I know people that have been here 20 years and can't speak a lick.
Mm. Do you think that if in Taiwan,
that is why I learned Chinese to integrate into the culture and to integrate into society and be more independent.
Mm.
It's just it's just so useful.
Yeah.
Mm.
What was your question, Corey?
Yeah, no, he answered the question. No, it's just because there's a lot of these shills that get a lot of praise from Chinese people, and they have lived in China for quite a long time. Most of them, it's not like, oh, I've been here a year. Many of them, it's like, oh, I've been here 8 years, 10 years, and some of them will even make like this insane accusation of I've been here for like 17 years. And all they know is like Baijiu and Pijiu, and you're like, dude, like that's.
I wonder who that is.
Yeah, I wonder who that could be.
And Laoban.
Yeah, and it's like that's funny because it's like,
and they even have Chinese like girlfriends or wives too, which is like really strange.
Why does every foreigner that speaks no Chinese call random Chinese people Laoban? Why do they like, oh, ni hao Laoban? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
because they don't know the actual like proper usage of it.
Yeah.
It's like he was even. I think that was that the Barrett kid you were talking about there. He calls everyone Laoban, right?
Yeah, everyone.
Yeah, you're the one that told me about that. Calling everyone Laoban.
Everyone's his boss.
It's really funny because it's like he was even calling like the women Laoban, and like usually you call the woman like Laoban Yang. Yeah. So he doesn't even know that little
some like
thing,
old Ai. She's like cleaning the floors. He's like Laoban. She's like,
yeah.
What?
It's like, no, I'm not the Laoban. The Laoban's like in the company office. I'm just here cleaning.
Yeah, but guys, let's remember, right? This is the guy who didn't know that tea was a popular thing in China.
I'll never get over that.
Tea came from China? I thought it came from India, and curry came from China.
It's like,
you're pulling my Lao.
You're pulling my Laoban.
You're pulling my Laoban.
Yeah. So guys, like
came from China.
Another reason, sorry, I just wanted to like throw this one in there. Another reason why Chinese people shouldn't like these foreigners who come to China, like the Shills and that kind of thing. Another reason is that these guys are actually breaking the law.
Oh,
And I think another important thing is they're not for the Chinese people. They're not for the average person. They don't understand that their wage is probably triple or quadruple that of a average Chinese person. They live a
Right. Right.
privileged life. They don't mix in with like the
Mhm.
average person. They can't even have a conversation with the average person.
Yeah, like I made a video about that, about how Barrett, when he was going around talking about how cheap everything is in China, but you know, like he didn't seem to sort of like factor in that, yeah, it's cheap for him. Obviously, he's making like, you know, a decent wage there, I guess, with his £53,000 a year from YouTube ad revenue. But like he doesn't factor in that there's, like,
Ridiculous.
this poor old,
Illegally.
there's, sorry mate, hold on one second. He didn't factor in that like poor old like Zhang Ai, who's like sweeping the streets in Beijing. She makes literally, I looked it up, and she's making about average, like I think it was like something like 20,000 RMB a year. 20,000 RMB a year, which when you convert that into like British pounds, that's like £2,000. I don't know how much that is in dollars, but yeah, she was like, you know, they don't think about like all of these poor people. They just only care about themselves and what they can get out of China and what China can do for them. Like good old Guelo, for example, always talking about how cheap everything is, you know, like just riding around on his e-bike and like, oh, this is cheap, that is cheap. But he doesn't consider the Chinese people, the average people who are not making like even like not even like minimum wage from where we come from. They're not even making that, you know.
I think it's
minimum
also,
wage in Taiwan's about $6. And like if somebody asks how much my rent is a month, they're like, oh my God, you live there alone? And like, or if I paid for something, they're like, you know, it's not as bad as China, but still there are people here like, oh my God, you spent that much this month? I can't believe it. And it's because our wage is like double or triple that of the average Taiwanese.
Yeah.
right. And I think that's the funny thing about the shills is not only are they like traveling for free off of like the government that Chinese people pay taxes into, but like they're traveling for free and then they make more money anyways. So it's kind of like, why are you using Chinese people that already don't get paid a lot anyways? And you're using their tax dollars from their government to be flown around and in an effort to promote the government when if anything, the government should be promoting the Chinese people that speak great English, the Chinese people that are well traveled, the Chinese people that
and
are experts in their
the
field.
individuals that are creating things that are, you know, unique instead of being like, oh, China created it. It's never the individual created it. It's, oh, China created it. The CCP created it.
Well, they did pretty good with creating the
They
virus.
always refer to us as we and us. I hate that. They always refer to us as we and us. At least in Taiwan, they don't do that.
Collectivism, you know.
At least in Taiwan, they don't do that. They don't say us Taiwanese, we Taiwanese.
Yeah, I mean, China does that a lot, to be honest.
Right.
It's like when we were river trekking, those people that were talking our ear off, when I asked them if they were Chinese or are they Aboriginal, and they're like, we're Chinese. And they admitted, they're like, Aboriginals are the real Taiwanese.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's my thing is I feel like it's just really funny, like I said before, that a lot of times the shills are being supported by the same people that really they should be shunned. Like think about the engineers and the scientists of China and these people that have put in all this work to create all of these. Like just imagine for a second you're like an engineer at Huawei. And then you've got some like random white kid like dancing on your commercial and he's like, Huawei, wee. And like this kid has no like
I don't think you'd be talking about the Barretts.
Yeah, like, exactly. It's like they speak no Chinese. They've done nothing for your country, and then you've got some dude dancing on Huawei commercial just because he's he's white, essentially. Why? Like, what's wrong with putting a Chinese person on there that again speaks English? Even that would be cool, you know. If you really want to make your country, you know, be trusted and for people to look up to you, like you can't use white people, you know, to advertise to white people. People know
they don't do that as much here. They don't do that as much here, definitely.
Right, because white people, you know, people from the Western world, they already think that Chinese people are really smart. They already know that Chinese people are good at this stuff. So it's like, why are we using white people that are not going to fool anyone from the Western world anyways? Like, it only fools other Chinese people. It doesn't fool any Westerners. You know what I mean? So,
and you live in America. I'm not sure if you've heard of the University of Irvine, California, but it's has one of the most Chinese overseas students, and everyone I talked to had like no idea about politics in China, did not want to return to China, were really working hard to learn English, and were dreading the thought of ever having to go back to China. At least 98% of them.
So we got someone said this freeway isn't working well without moderation. Yeah, I think maybe that's a good point. Like, it's quite easy to sort of like cut into when other people are talking and stuff. So yeah, I get the point. But it's kind of just a free chat, as Prime just said in the chat there. So I mean, you know, that's just the way it's going to go today. Future streams with us, I think we're going to like have to get some sort of moderator in there. But you know,
I agree. And it's like a test run. We're still waiting for 4Cs and stuff. So, you know, just kind of, you know, it's our first time doing this together. So
no, I had a question for you guys. You know, you're talking about how these shills shouldn't be representing China, right? They shouldn't be representing the Chinese people, and they shouldn't be used to sort of as an advertisement for China. But the question is, and I think this is a good point, does the average Chinese person even watch their videos?
You mean the Shills videos?
Yeah.
The average Chinese person. No.
Yeah.
No.
I'll let Corey go first. He's lived in China before.
I think the average Chinese person is not interested in the nationalists. There have been a few YouTubers that are very well known. Of course, like Trevor James, the food guy, very well known in China. Like, I don't know how that guy could walk around China ever and not like how he could get anywhere. And another guy that makes really cool videos too is that Call on a Broadcast. You know, he does those market videos. I remember when his market video in Beijing went viral, I had like Chinese people I didn't even know coming up to me and being like, "Do you know this guy?" And I'm like, "I know of him, but I don't know him personally." You know, and it was just really strange. So I don't think Chinese people are interested in the nationalist videos as much as like, you know, just regular Chinese people aren't. Anyways, not in my opinion. You know, mostly bots, I think.
I think a lot of them don't have time either to be, you know, they're so busy with work and so tired with school. I don't think they have time to be watching people like the Shills. Usually the people that are watching them are the nationalists and people that don't even live in China. They're Chinese, but they don't even live in China.
Yeah, I mean, these a lot of the Chinese that watch them are probably like nationalists or have links to the CCP or whatever. And these guys, they do actually, like nowadays, I've noticed more and more of them are including Chinese subtitles in their videos. Now, is that to cater for your typical Chinese?
Kind of like the cool kids club here.
Hold on. But my point has always been is that they're actually making their videos and putting them on YouTube, which is illegal in China in the first place, right? So who are they making the videos for? Who knows?
It's hypocrisy at its finest. Hypocrisy at its finest.
It really is. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, like they're not doing the you know, the subtitles at the bottom. They don't speak Chinese. Barrett's not doing subtitles. He doesn't know how to tell people his own name in Chinese. You know, Guela60, they asked him in Chinese where he was from. He didn't even know. He didn't understand that they were asking him where he was from, which is like the first like sentence you learn in Chinese. You know, so it's like if you ever seen like subtitles on his videos, like it's obviously not him. The Barretts, it's obviously not them. Now, you know, Jia Yo, he has some Chinese ability, but he's not going to subtitle his own videos. You know what I mean?
It's horrible. Trust me, it's horrible. I was his fan.
Yeah, I know. I saw Barrett though in one of his latest videos. You know that one where he's walking around the call center. He can actually count to 5 in Chinese. Because he was talking about the phone number. You know, they've got that really easy. He was like, they've got this really easy to remember phone number.
Yeah.
And it's like, Yi Er San Si Wu.
好厉害哦！哇，你可以数到5，哇，好厉害哦，好赞。
He's so lihai.
Everything is just amazing.
Yeah.
可以说普通话，哇，好厉害。
So, Prime, you just got like a donation, by the way.
Oh, did I? I didn't even check.
Check it.
The D.D. Smith. I see.
D.D. Smith is like in love with you.
This dude is balling. Like, I don't know what he does, but like.
Hey, sorry to cut you guys off. Seasons is online looking for you guys.
So, Mr. Seasons, I will send you the link. And because I think that 3 people is kind of a lot anyways until we get moderation, I'm probably going to remove Exploration Taiwan for a bit and bring 4 Seasons, 4 C's on. My gosh, 4 Seasons.
4 C's.
4 C's on. And we'll talk to him a bit. But everyone should check out Exploration Taiwan if you're interested in Taiwan and things like that. AKA Exploration Waterfall. If you like waterfalls, check him out. I just give him
a little bit of everything. And Prime in China, YGZ, thanks for having me on. It's been 22 minutes. I think that's good enough for me. I can get to my own stuff, and I'll be watching from my phone. I'm sure 4 Seasons will be really interesting.
Peace, mate.
All right. And so maybe you can just kind of talk to the stream a bit while I get 4 C's added on here, if you would.
I can read some comments if you want.
Do.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take it from the start. You got quite a few, man. Yeah. Okay, so you've got. Is there any way? There's no way I can pull the comments up on the screen, is there? Like, I think
if you click it in the studio, you should be able to bring it up. Can you click in the studio and bring it up?
No, I can't. I don't think I have that option because I'm just a guest in here, I think.
Oh, so sad. Let me see if I can. Maybe I can't. Okay, maybe you can just. Whose comment do you want to talk about?
I'm just going to sort of like have a look through and see who we've got here. So yeah, you just try and get him in, and then I'll just hold the fort for a couple of minutes. Okay.
Awesome.
Okay, guys. So just very quickly, you've got Austin Thomas who says you are doing good work here, man. Appreciate it. I guess you're talking to Prime, but yeah, I'll take that as well. I think a lot of us are doing the work that needs to be done, to be honest with you. There's far too many people who make videos about China. Unfortunately, they're actually based in China, so they find it very difficult to be critical of the Chinese government and to actually talk bad stuff about the Shills and that kind of thing. And also, like, the Shills, they can be very ruthless people, actually. You know, they pretend they're all nice people on camera, but let's face it, they're shilling for the Chinese Communist Party, and they're very, as Barrett would say, they're very nefarious with those deer in headlight eyes. So, like, you know, at the end of the day, these guys, they're nefarious folk, and they will, you know, they'll really try hard to take your channel down if you start criticizing them and stuff. Like Prime over here knows that all too well. he's gone through a lot of crap because of these guys, and myself too. You know, I'm a smaller channel, but I've also had a lot of crap as well from them. So really, you know, like Prime just staying on here and doing the thing that he's doing, regardless of all of the horrible death threats that he's getting, him and his family. You know, it's really admirable that he's stayed on and done this, because you know, it says a lot about his character. You know, like he's a strong-willed guy, and yeah, I've learned quite a lot from him in regards to that. You know, he's given me a lot of mental coaching over the last sort of like 6 months or so. So yeah, much appreciated, man.
Yeah, I've called you a vagina like 10 times or something. Not the word vagina. I know you're not. I understand, because they did it to you too. So I understand your position, but you're exactly right. A lot of Chinese people don't understand just how nasty a lot of these people are. If you go on Twitter and you look at someone like Daniel Dumbro, the way that he talks to women on there is just it's insane. You know, it's like the stuff that he says is just insanity. The stuff that he says to people that you know, have fled China or whatever is just insane. So
right.
So I'm going to add 4Cs in there. Sorry to interrupt.
Is he? Oh, is he available? Is he?
Yeah, he is backstage, so I'm going to add him in.
Yes, please. Yeah, be good to have him on.
And so 4Cs One Family. If you everybody want to check him out, he's another Taiwan. This guy's like an OG. He's been there for quite a long time. Do you want to introduce yourself at all, Mr. 4Cs?
Hey, how you doing, guys? My name is James, 4Cs One Family from New York. I'm educated in China, or partially, did part of my university years there, and fluent in Mandarin. I can read and write, basically, because Chinese is never a language that you can finish studying, and because there's, you know, different dialects and stuff like that. I can converse in about 7 different languages, but I lived in China, of course, a long time, and now I live here in Taiwan. When I was young, I lived here even when the military was here. So that gives you an idea how old I am. And yeah, the channel that I have basically talk about foreign national living in different parts of the world. But because I live in Taiwan, right across the street from some angry neighbors, I think it's my responsibility now to focus more on what's happening out here in Asia, and also as it relates to what's going on in not only in the US and Europe, but in other parts of the world. My background is television, radio, media. Some of you, if you live in Asia, probably saw me in some movies out here. And I've done a few news reports for some people here, Deutsche Welle, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, I'm into stuff like that. Congratulations, Louis, on your television notoriety here in Taiwan. That was really cool. I really appreciate you doing good representing.
Oh, thanks, mate.
But basically, I'll talk about life out here, but particularly what's going on now with the certain shills next door. I think is now for me to refocus on what's going on with them and how they are representing us out here. When I mean us, I mean foreign nationals who come from actually free nations, I would say, democratic nations.
Right.
I was just on the bus just now, and I just want to make a quick comment before, you know, I don't want to cut in too much. But it's something about learning the language. You know, when you learn a language, not the way that these guys are given things to read, okay, that's doctored, scripted, and stuff like that. I mean, they should know better. The stuff that they're reading is being scripted, but they have a personal investment into this with the people they work with over there, and maybe they're afraid to say anything, but that's not my concern right now. But when you learn a language, it teaches you certain things about how people communicate and also the hidden nuances of what is said. And when you learn to read, to be able to read the language, you can actually go on your own and pick up materials that some people may not be willing or afraid to show you. And when you're reading stuff, historical stuff like Li Bo, some people say Li Bai, Mengzi, stuff like that, you learn certain cultures, certain cultural techniques that even some of the Chinese even have forgotten. So when you hear these guys who've been living in China for so long and barely can talk more than, you know, where can I find the bathroom, or, you know, I just want, you know, Niu Rou Mian, you know, Chao Fan Mian, you know. You know, you need more than that, and to be able to take the language to a level where you can talk about people's personal lives and their inner feelings about their predicament in their situation. This is something that you need that can help you propel yourself to learn more about the culture. And
Absolutely.
it's not only about hey, how you doing? I'm fine. And exploration says something about how the Taiwanese people here, in some cases they really don't expect you to learn Mandarin, but when you learn it, it does pull you in a little bit closer. And why? Because they're able to share certain nuances about not only their culture, about themselves. Now, you got the Shills over in China talking about how wonderful it is, but is that really showing that they love the people there? If you really love the people where you are, so how would you say, socially invested in or spiritually invested in, sometimes you do talk about the sad things. Okay, it doesn't mean you don't appreciate it, but you should be able to respectfully present these things. And that's someplace they're not going to go. So I just wanted to jump in there and put my 2 cents into that.
No, good. Yeah, that was excellent. That was excellent. And I totally agree with you. Like, the reason why I even studied Chinese in the first place. Sorry, what is that? Oh, it's a Taipei mug. Nice. Yeah, the reason why I studied Chinese in the first place was when I was living in China is because, number one, I wanted to be more independent. Yeah, I wanted to be able to like get on with my daily life and not have to rely on anybody to help me to do anything. So I really just wanted that independence, just to be able to go into a shop and, order some food or just talk to people in daily life, just understand what the people were talking about around me, because you never know, like when you're standing on that bus and some old ladies are talking and looking at you, you never know what they're saying, right? So it's very nice to sort of know what people were saying about you. So just those are the reasons why I learned Chinese. And obviously immersion is the best way to learn any language, right? These guys are they've missed the perfect opportunity to learn Chinese. They're actually living in China. What better way is there than to like learn a language and actually immersing yourself into that society, right? You know what I mean?
I want to add something to that. I'm sorry, Prime. You want to say something, Prime? I'm sorry about that. Can I jump in and say something real quick?
He's on mute.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, no. I'll just mute whenever I'm not talking. That way, it's not whatever.
Oh, okay.
Moderation.
No, the one thing that I wanted to say was that probably one of my number one most amazing, memorable things that ever happened to me in China was my wife and I were at Korean barbecue, and there were two businessmen sitting next to us, right next to us talking. And as you guys know, in China, large population, a lot of restaurants, you're sitting next to a lot of people you don't know. Right. And we as I think at least Americans and perhaps, British people too, we're very much about, me and who we're with, our direct party. Right. And it's something that you learn about, like you go to Japan too, and people sit together, and in China, people sit together. And the most interesting thing that ever happened was I had such an awesome conversation with these two Chinese businessmen in Chinese. Right. And it just taught me so much, and it was such an amazing experience to have these guys talk to me and to drink. And they actually knew people that I knew in America. And I was just shocked, right? That how could these
blows me away, yeah.
Like thousands of miles away, right? Know people that you know. And so, of course, I was like, do you speak English? And these dudes spoke English. So the whole time we could have been using English, but we didn't. And it was something for me that was really awesome, because I've always, there's that saying, when you speak to a person in their native language, it's like speaking to their heart, right? It's very different. And I think that's even more so true for people in Asian countries, but especially China, because I think all Chinese people have this idea that their language is really hard to learn and that it's impossible to learn. And that when a foreigner speaks it and you do it well, right? It's very important for them. So that's all I wanted to say. Yeah. I'll give you the floor back, Mr. Four Seasons, like you said. So
I want to add something in that really sounds strange. This happened to me about 8 months ago. And here in Taiwan, people speak Mandarin, but they also speak Minanhua, is Fukanese, basically, even part dialect of Fukanese in southern China. And I was on a bus, and these two older ladies, they were speaking in a local dialect, Taiwanese, and I understood it. And she said something about they were coming on the bus, and I was sitting, and it was only one seat next to me. And this is the person said in Mandarin, in Taiwanese, don't sit next to the black guy. And I heard it, and I looked at him. Now, hold on. Now, because I lived out here, I understand it doesn't mean, well, different. Somebody back home say that, it'd be like, shocking. Yeah, you'd be like, hey, what the, you start getting into that mood. But because I've lived out here so long, it's like, wait a minute, hold on, put the ghetto down. You know the history here. You're under the culture. Put the ghetto down. I'm going to your South Bronx mode. And then, I looked at them and I spoke to them in their local dialect. And I said, you can take my seat. I got up and I gave the seat to the two ladies. And they were at first kind of shocked. Okay. Because, Mandarin is one thing, but just understand their local dialect. Okay. Sit down. So when they sat down, I took it on myself to have a conversation with them. And in Mandarin, this time we switched to Mandarin. And, and I told them, that, by saying that, this is how it made me feel. Right. And they got into the conversation, was not different. And, this was the best way to get invited for dinner. It sounds weird, by not jumping to conclusions and understanding more about the culture and the language and what the nuances mean when people deliver things to you, it's like when a Chinese person or Mandarin speaker hear a black person or somebody says, "Oh, that's bad, man," what you mean is it means it's good, in a certain form of what it's delivered. Yeah. But this is something that taught me about how important it is to not only know the language, but to understand the delivery mechanisms when people in a certain language say it. And it's helped me a lot with just doing little tiny things like that. And I hope these guys who are peddling certain things to a certain part of the CCP understand this. And this is something that we can all benefit from.
They don't understand it, James, because they don't care.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest with you, I mean, that was lovely. What you just said there was lovely, I really appreciate that. And that just means that you're a decent guy, and you're willing to understand the various nuances of what things can mean in language and that kind of thing. But the Shills don't care, man. They don't care. They just care about winding up this nationalist audience of theirs so they can get views and they can get money from YouTube and that kind of thing and have their little catered for life, paid for by the Chinese government to live this little superstar life that they could never have back home. And that's it for these guys. They don't care about learning Chinese. Otherwise, they would have done it. They would be you. Yeah.
It's a beautiful language, man.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second, guys. I just need to, my laptop's running out of power. I just want to grab the charger quickly. Sorry. But you guys carry on.
Yeah.
What you said about it being a beautiful language is something that I agree with 1,000%, because, for me as an English speaker, and then I learned some Japanese and a little bit, I definitely didn't put in, as much as I should have. But I knew that Japanese didn't have tones, right? So when I first started learning Chinese, I was like, wait, it has tones? I was like, this is really interesting. And it just, the grammar and the way that it was and the tones and things for me was really surprising. And then the other thing was the different, like you go to Hubei or wherever you go in China, and it changes so much and it's shocking. And then I lived in Guangdong. So for me, it was like, wait, I'm learning Mandarin when I should be learning Cantonese, right? And then to learn some Cantonese too was interesting. And it's just you have to learn Chinese to be in China to understand it. But it's just such a great language, anyways, and it's such an interesting language because not many languages I think are tied to their culture and their history as much as Mandarin,
It's really interesting when you go to certain parts, especially in China, even out here in Taiwan, you get a whole different insight on a part of their local history and stories. You go to a place where you see a temple, then you'll find an older guy, and they can just tell you a whole story. When you sit down and actually chat with them, you find out, 四海一家, four seas, one family. We have a lot of things in common, but we are different. That's what makes us interesting, and also should promote us to learn more about each other. This is what you should be promoting within a culture and a nation, not just one side of a certain group of leaders want you to perpetuate. And I hope these guys can just stop eating up their own and smelling their own vapors, and be able to break through whatever they're tied to.
Yeah. I think you're slightly more optimistic than I am.
I'm trying.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think about that, Prime? Do you think the Shills can ever redeem themselves?
I will say, I think there's I've given a lot of them a chance already. So for me, it's like knowing some of them for even a few years and seeing how they've changed. Jiao, and this is just talking about them as people. Jiao is not always like he is now. Guelo perhaps is his perhaps he's been the way he is for a while, but here's the other thing, like, Guelo has said bad things about China, but now he would never say that. Daniel Dumbrill used to talk, he lived in Shenzhen, 30 minutes away from where I lived. And, plenty of people I've known have known him too. And they've said the same thing, that he would say bad things about China. He said all kinds of bad things about China when his business got taken from him, and to think that they can say those bad things. And then, it's like, there's certain things that you say, you don't go back from. It's like, as an example, in America, if you have a racist rant against African Americans, there's no really going back at that point. You don't drop the N-bomb on stage about 20 times and then get your career back. And a lot of the things that these shills have done, if Chinese people had seen and known that they were saying it, probably wouldn't be so supportive of them. You know?
Yeah. Do you think these guys, they if they claim to love China so much, and they're willing to damage their entire reputation back home because they're constantly parroting CCP propaganda. Like, I'm pretty sure back home, like the Barretts right now, because they were in that Times article, I think they've made a lot of enemies. Now, do you think these guys would be willing to give up their British passports or their American passports for a Chinese one?
Who do you want to go for that one first?
Whoever, it's open.
Okay.
It's on you.
Okay. Well, no place is perfect, and no place should be perfect, because when things become perfect, it becomes boring. Okay.
Yeah,
so
right,
we know that. Now, if these guys really think about it, if they, let's be honest. Let's be honest, guys. Here we go. Ready? We will never be Taiwanese. We will never be Chinese. Culturally. Sure, I have my card that says that I am, but we're not. And that's okay. But the thing is, when you get to a certain level of relationships with people, who cares? This is something that they will never be able to get to, because what they're mouthing off now is just temporary. This is not something that is evergreen from them. They do not understand that. Now, should they have the hammer coming down on them from people in their home nations? Hell yeah. Of course. Should you say that they are being unpatriotic or they're trying to promote some kind of subversivism? I don't want to say that, because I don't think that's the crux of your question, I would say. But I would say that they should be, I want to say the word some kind of like reprimanded for what they're saying. But we're lucky we're from free nations where that's your opinion. But remember, you're going to reap what you're saying now. Yeah. Because it's going to come back to you and going to bite you someplace where the sun doesn't shine.
If they love China so much, they should be willing to become a citizen of China. Yeah.
Or they should be willing to just volunteer and say you're a citizen, because it's happening here in Taiwan. Taiwan has given citizenship to foreigners because of the social investment they made. And it's nothing about money. They're not saying, oh, you have to give $5 million and this much tax to local bonuses to local people. No, I've known about I know about 3 people already who were given citizenship. Would that happen in China?
Very rare. I think it's very rare. Yeah. So, did you want to chime in on this one?
Yeah, no, I think we all know, you know, one thing that really comes to my mind is when Haza, you know, Haza, he's the Australian guy that lives in Guangzhou, and he is literally a state-run media journalist. He went on Twitter to another literal state-run media government official person and said that he was ashamed of Australia, that he was ashamed, and that he would like to renounce his citizenship. And I was like that close to making a video, but I decided to be, you know, diplomatic and sent him a message and say, "Are you serious?" And he looked back on it later, and I'm going to talk to him in the future on his stream, so I don't want to give everything away, of course, but he said no, he would not give up his citizenship. And I think that it's the same for all of the shills. None of them would ever give up their citizenship to be a part of China. Now, I know that there are some other countries that foreigners have gone to that for giving up their citizenship, there are some advantages. But China doesn't really give you anything for giving up your citizenship. They don't do anything for you, really. And so I don't see people doing that for China, to be honest. And even for me personally, as an American, I'm a proud American, and admittedly, America is not perfect by any means, but I would still not give up my citizenship, really, for any country to live anywhere else.
It's very interesting you said that because, for example, you know, I've been watching you for a while, and you and I, we do have differences, as say, the opinions of what's happening at home. But you know what, man, we can respect each other because we know we're at a level where we know how to share respectfully our thoughts, whatever. And I really, really enjoyed that about Prime. You know, you're straight up.
You're allowed to have differences of opinion.
Right. And see, that's part of
because you're not in China.
That you know, we have YGZ and 4Cs on here because we have different opinions, right? We're from different places.
Yes.
You know, hey, I'm also American, you know, 4Cs is American.
But tell the truth, we know it's just the bald guys against the guys with hair. That's all we know this is about. That's all, because we know this is the way it's styled.
And I think that was one of the things with the Circle Jerk stream that they had, was that everyone kind of agreed with each other. You know, I'm like, well, you can all agree with each other all you want, but like that makes it boring, you know. So we're going to have people on here that perhaps we do disagree with and heavily disagree with. And that doesn't mean that we're going to bash them. That doesn't mean that we're going to, you know, oh, Taonima. We're not going to be like cursing at them in Chinese and, you know, it's not going to happen. Because in the end, I think something that a lot of people don't understand is that even though we're the ones that are being called anti-China, we're the good guys. We're the ones that are willing to discuss topics and disagree, but agree to disagree.
Yeah, so we're the Marvel movie they should be looking at.
Right.
That's right.
Yes. Two bald guys with hair.
Bald guys.
Right, the two bald guys.
You're going to have to shave your head.
That's right.
Yeah, I should just do this. There we go. Look, we've got it sorted out now.
I just saw Exploration got out the shower, talking about how messy his hair is. Boy,
it looked like a mop, didn't it? It kind of looked like a mop.
Yeah.
Well, you guys should have known me when I had that balzato, you know.
I have this off topic. I have a picture of my dad from like the 70s, and he has the afro, and I'm like, how did you pull that off? You know,
cream.
Man, I could have never done that. So I think stream for probably about 10 more minutes. We've been live for
guys.
9 minutes.
Like
I know it's
actually like I'm thinking like I might leave you guys to sort of like have your little moment, because I'm kind of fading. I was already doing a stream for like almost an hour before I joined this one. So
sorry, guys.
Well, then perhaps we'll just end it here. I know that 4Cs kind of came in at the end and Exploration was kind of on in the beginning. So in that case, if you guys are from my channel and you don't know who YGZ Taiwan is, go ahead and check out his channel. Same for 4Cs. Check out his channel. You know, these are legit dudes. I wouldn't have anyone on here that is, you know, crazy psycho, whatever, right? They're normal guys, have their own opinions on things. So check them out. You know, they're from different places. So yeah, check them out.
If you're interested in like Taiwan stuff, then you should definitely check out our channels for sure. You know, I've literally 4Cs has been here for like quite some time. I've literally just got off the boat. Like I've literally just got here, like 2 months in Taiwan. So if you want to know anything, what it's like as a new arrival into Taiwan, or you want to know what it's like from an experienced pro, a veteran of Taiwan, then check out both our channels.
Yeah. And guys, thanks a lot for, you know, having me here. I've been here for over 30-something years and, you know, went to school in mainland China and here. I talk mainly about the culture. I know quite a hell of a lot about Chinese history because that's what I studied and stuff like that. So if you have questions about especially stuff that happens in Chinese history, especially in the recent times, you know, I do my best to answer you guys. And look, Prime, Louis, thanks a lot for having me in here, YGZ. Guys, peace to you guys. 再会吧。
我们下一次见啊。
下一次见了吧。
再见。
Everyone, 再见。拜拜。